aggregate attention with a view to proffer solutions that will benefit humanity. Well, first the headlines. Anambra State, CP vows to rearrest fleeing suspected killers of lawmaker. In Lagos State, newlywed dies in custody, cop complainant arrested. Alleged manslaughter, defense opens case in Ataga murder trial. And in Yobe State, student dies as classroom collapse. Remember that we are open for advert placement, news and events coverage, personality, society and political interviews, product service promotion and commercials. Remember to connect with us on all our ATN socials on Facebook and YouTube, Atlantic Television Network, on Instagram and TikTok, Atlantic TV Network 1, on Twitter, Atlantic TV Net. Watch us live on our website on www.atlanticnetwork.tv. We'll go on a quick break, and when we get back, I'll introduce my guests to you and we'll dive right into it. Please stay with us. Welcome back, and thank you so much for staying with us. Here with me in the studio is my amazing guest, Mr. Chukwu C. Ikechukwu. He's a public affairs analyst, and we are glad to have him join us today on the show. Thank you. So nice to see you again. Let's go right into it. In Anambra State, CP vows to rearrest fleeing suspected killers of lawmaker. Commissioner of Police in Anambra State, CP Ikioye Orutugu, has vowed to rearrest the two fleeing suspects initially arrested in connection with the killing of Justice Azuka, the member representing Onitsha 1 constituency in the Anambra State House of Assembly. Orutugu made this pledge while receiving Speaker Somtochukwu Udeze, other House members and high-ranking political officers at the police headquarters in Oka on Wednesday. Azuka was kidnapped on December 24, 2024, while returning home for Christmas. His lifeless body was recovered on the Second Niger Bridge on February 6, 2025, and buried on Saturday. However, in a shortened turn of events, police spokesman SP Tochukwu Ikenga announced on Tuesday that the two suspects initially arrested in connection with the murder had escaped while leading operatives to another arrest. During the meeting with lawmakers, Orutugu called for calm and assured the delegation that the command is taking all necessary steps to rearrest the fleeing suspects and ensure justice is served. He reaffirmed the police's commitment to upholding the rule of law and maintaining public confidence in the state's security structure. The CP also briefed the delegation on measures being implemented to track down the fugitives and the disciplinary actions taken against officers involved in the escape. Well, this is a rather sad one, given, I don't know if you ever got to see the pictures of the, of the man when he was found. What are your thoughts on this story?
It's quite unfortunate. It's going to increase the distrust, already high distrust between the people and the security agencies, the police in particular. The family of the deceased and perhaps other families who has had their family members go missing without being found, who would have thought that probably justice would be served. Even those families that cannot pinpoint their missing family members to these guys, we would have somehow been assuaged that, okay, somehow one day the long arm of the law will catch up with these guys. Unfortunately, this news is coming. I mean, it sounds infantile to say, oh, they were taking them to go and arrest, to make some arrests. When I thought they would have been handcuffed or something. It's not something anybody wants to think about. Certainly, the security agencies has here. The only consolation that will come is if these guys are rearrested. Anything short of rearresting them will definitely not be something. I mean, you don't think of it. There have been many cases of kidnap, and the criminals are hardly arrested. Now there seems to be a light at the end of the tunnel. They were arrested. One would have thought that the next thing would have been the investigation, as was purportedly going on, perhaps make more arrests, justice served. Yeah, it won't return back the dead, but at least that would somehow assuage both the living and the dead. All of a sudden, you hear that
they've escaped.
And for crying out loud, how would you allow such high-profile killers escape?
No, I wanted you said something about the police erring. That the police erred. How do you think they did that? Do you think they erred by not putting handcuffs on the people? You think they erred by I don't know, taking them for a stroll?
It wasn't a stroll, but maybe we can even call it that, since they strolled into wherever, but they were leading them. I want to assume it's in the course of the investigation. Maybe some questions.
So what do you think they were like two police officers taking them, given how high profile the case is?
It can be two police officers, especially when they say they were going for an arrest. So that's even why it is more surprising. I would have thought that this is a team of investigators leading them. How come they escaped and they couldn't hold them down immediately? They have to I mean, it really doesn't add up. The arresting of the police officers involved, it could just be a cold comfort to the public. The only thing the public that would assuage the pain is rearresting those guys.
Right. Now, when I went through and read this report, I decided to take it upon myself to go through social media to see the thoughts of Nigerians and read the minds of Nigerians, given that, we are in very, very trying times as regards security and all of that, and kidnapping has become a big business, on its own. And when I went through social media, many people on Twitter, many people were aggrieved. Some people went on to say, that is why things have become the way they are, because people are always able to get out, right? If people are able to get out because they are able to pay certain amounts of money, according to those comments and the grief of social media users, many people said that is why they think people should subscribe more to any other way to get their problems sorted out. And someone rightly pointed out a reference point, which I'm going to use in accordance with this story. So days ago, some kidnappers were caught at Agor Palace Way, about 4 men, and I watched the video when that incident broke. They were being beat up, and made to say, what did you do? They'll say their name, and from so place, I'm a kidnapper, blah, 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 all of that. So they were made to actually confess on video, right? Now, those people right now, the police is actually saying they are not kidnappers and there's nothing like that.
They said the incident never happened.
That the incident never happened. Now, do you think when you put these cases together, these actions have made people completely lose trust in a way that you think people will start being their own security?
Absolutely. People are already, for all I know, people are already their own security. Many people provide their security. There is hardly any street in Nigeria, maybe except in the rural areas. Every other street in every town in Nigeria have its own gate, have its own security men, paid by the residents of such street. So everybody is already taking care of his own security. Jungle justice is
I was going to talk about jungle justice next, because now the subscription to jungle justice is becoming high again, given that before now people will always say, oh no, hand that person over to the police. But when things like this happen, do you think it just deflates the morale of people that, you know, still believe in security agencies as a means of help?
Absolutely. And with this type of instances, that if somebody is arrested, the crowd, which easily become a mob, decide to carry out jungle justice, the few voices that will say, oh, don't go that way, would be drowned. I mean, those itching for action, their voices will drown the few sane voices. And even amongst the same voices, probably you find one or two persons justifying it on account of what has happened. So it's in the interest of society for the police to ensure that when criminals are apprehended, we don't get to hear these stories of, oh, they escaped from custodies. Well, it shouldn't be something that you hear very often, as it's especially in high-profile matters like this. For crying out loud, people accused of murder are people who should be. They are not. You don't play with them. They were accused of murder, and from the evidence we saw, which the police itself did display, these guys should be accused of multiple murder, not just that of Azuka, because the set camp where they took the police to had videos of other decomposing bodies. So are those the kind of people you take, using your words, you take for a stroll? Was it supposed to be a walk in the park? If you're taking them for an as a way to aid your investigation, fine, it's understandable, but adequate security measures should have been in place, because it's even without those guys escaping, you never can tell. Somehow information gets out and you hear that, oh, some policemen were attacked
and ambushed.
So it means that they didn't make enough arrangement for this movement that led to the escape of this guy, and it's a minus on the part of the police. It's a sad one for society at large, not just the people of Anambra State, but for every right-thinking Nigerian.
Thank you so much for your input on that report. We go to Lagos State. Lagos State Police Command has launched an investigation into the alleged torture and death of Abdulmajid Uduga while in police custody at Ikota Police Post in Ajah. The command spokesperson Benjamin Hundeyin confirmed the arrest of the investigating police officer and the complainant, adding that an autopsy would be conducted to determine the cause of death before further actions are taken. Hundeyin assured the public that a thorough investigation is underway, with those found culpable facing legal consequences. Reports indicate that Uduga was arrested on February 11th following a misunderstanding with his female neighbor and was detained at the police post. Allegations surfaced on social media that he was subjected to severe torture, which led to his death, after which his body was allegedly dumped at a morgue in Ekpe. A user on X, Omoya Sele, who identified himself as Uduga's cousin, claimed that the police were responsible for his death and called for an investigation. He revealed that Uduga had been married for just 4 months before the tragic incident, adding another relative, Cherub, also demanded justice, condemning that what she described as a pattern of police brutality. In a series of posts, family members described Uduga as a breadwinner and accused the police of denying him access to contact his loved ones while in custody. His sibling expressed anguish, questioning how a minor dispute between neighbors led to his sudden death. Urging for justice, the family called on Nigerians to join in the demand of accountability, insisting that those responsible must not go unpunished. Now, we've just, talked about a case a little, you know, tad bit similar to this, which happened in Anambra with the police. What are your thoughts on this report?
Unfortunately, we have another case of loss of life, human rights abuse,
sadly,
likely. This coming from a usual quarter because the police, in all honesty, are notorious for human rights abuse. Now, this is not a condemnation to the few guys there, but what I seem to query is, why arrest the complainant? Was there a conspiracy or something between the complainant and the
victim?
Not the victim. Apparently, there was a problem between the complainant and the victim.
Right.
But in my thinking, I don't know, maybe there is more they have not said. I have a case against you. I report to the police station. I probably didn't mean the police should torture the person I reported to death. Maybe, just maybe, this complainant may not know what happened that day.
If it was going to get to the extent it got.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, it was within the powers of the police to, I mean, they need to tell us more, because if we have a situation where a complainant is victimized on account of the wrong action of the police people, it's going to deter many more would be a complainant to report cases that arises from the interaction either with their neighbors or any other places. And the more we deter people from making reports to security agencies, the worse it is for society. Because such persons may employ extra legal means to handle their cases. Now, this is not an exoneration of the complainant, but I hope
really, really touching, because the police even offered him 200,000 for his surgery that cost, you know, that costed him about 5 million to try to fix. For them to have offered money, that means they are complacent with what happened. They realized that we had the wrong person. This move we made was wrong. I mean, for you to offer money, this technically is acceptance that our
authority should be made to bear the brunt. So until these things are done, we will keep having this repeat.
I want to know your thoughts as regards. It's two fighting should be a civil matter, isn't it? When two people have a misunderstanding.
Absolutely.
Exactly. And why is someone being tortured over a civil matter?
That is an aberration. You know, normally you take the case. Now, the complainant, which is why I'm surprised the complainant is arrested, except there is more to it that we don't know. The complainant makes a report because he doesn't want to.
Is the complainant supposed to make this report to the police or to civil defense?
The police is a civil institution.
Okay.
Never mind, they are called the Nigerian Police Force. They are not supposed to be a force. It's a civilian organization.
So what then is the role? What then is the role? Why do we not have another?
Maybe our society or the government having realized that maybe the burden of security would have been too much on the regular police, so they established this civil defense. So if you look at one of them, they are not necessarily in charge of cases like ordinary theft or something. They help to secure what is called critical infrastructure. So, but the normal issue, I have a quarrel with you and I'm dissatisfied the way you acted, the normal thing to do is to go to the police. That up this morning and Octavia gave me a bad look. So since I don't want to slap her for giving me a bad look, I have come here to report. So the police invite you, ask, why did you give your neighbor a bad look, whatever that means, you know. They try to, like you said, it's a civil matter. It's not something that should lead to torture. Where the police find out that it's something beyond them, the best thing to have would have been to take the matter to court. Yeah, it shouldn't lead to torture, except that even where there is a case of theft or any other crime involved, no crime should lead to torture. No, it is not in their place to torture. Even in the course of the investigation, they shouldn't. I mean, it's an aberration. It's an aberration.
And you know, sadly, we have such things fly all of the time.
Yes, this only made it to the news because the victim died. If he didn't die, I mean, every day, like the one you mentioned, people get all manner of
Thank you so much for your insight on the report. Rather sad one there. We go to Lagos State still. Lagos State High Court sitting in Tafawa Balewa Square has rejected the no case submissions filed by Chioma Egbuchu and Adedapo Quadri in the ongoing murder trial of Michael Osifo Ataga, CEO of Super TV. Justice Yetunde Adesanya ruled that there was a prima facie case against both defendants, stating that the prosecution had presented sufficient material evidence to require them to enter their defense. Quadri and Ibuchu had argued for the charges against them to be dismissed due to the incident. A 300-level mass communication student of the University of Lagos is standing trial alongside her sister Egbuchu and Quadri for the murder of Ataga. The Lagos State government arraigned the defendants on October 12, 2021. Ojukwu and Quadri faces charges of conspiracy, murder, and stabbing, while Egbuchu is charged with stealing an iPhone 7 belonging to the deceased. The prosecution alleges that Ojukwu and Quadri conspired and murdered Ataga on June 15, 2021, stabbing him multiple times in the neck and chest at a short-let apartment in Lekki, Phase 1. During Thursday's proceedings, the judge noted that the first defendant, Ojukwu, admitted during interrogation that Quadri assisted her in preparing documents, including a UBA bank account under the name Mary Johnson, an Access bank statement, a driving license, and a passport. Quadri himself reportedly confessed to helping Ojukwu prepare these documents. Regarding Egbuchu, the court considered her statement that she was unaware the phone she received from her sister was stolen. She claimed that Chidima had told her it was a gift from her boyfriend. Justice Adesanya concluded that both defendants had a case to answer and ordered them to enter their defense. The trial has been adjourned until April 9, 2025, for the defense to present their case. This happened in 2021. We are still talking about it in 20.
Slowly for Nigerian case for lack of an alternate word, but definitely some progress has been made. So the judge seems to have established not that you are a thief or something, but because it's still they are still at the trial process.
For them to be able to even make this file, they are beginning to think everybody has forgotten about what's going on. So maybe we can just get off all of this.
No, you see that the ruling came yesterday also doesn't mean that that was when they entered that plea of no case submission. It's possible just possible they may have entered that plea as early as the case started. Okay. Just to say, oh, you have been accused of so say,
right.
Not be me. And then how do you say it's not you? The prosecution gives their reason why they think these guys have some questions to answer.
Right.
Then the defense lawyer also make their own argument. At the end of the day, in the wisdom of the judge, he...
Now, Chidima is she was 300 level mass communication. The reports rightly said that she was...
Was that your colleague?
She was in a... she's a colleague to all media houses. but Chidima was a student in the University of Lagos doing mass communication. And I don't know if you remember very well the backstory as regards the affair she was having with this married person, Super TV CEO Father. Where do we get now? I want to talk about material things, the crave for young people and material things, right? The man was found murdered, stabbed severally, all over his chest, his stomach, and his hand, multiple times, right? And with this phone being retrieved and the money transferred into the said accounts which she opened, why do you think young people have become so desperate? Because from 2021 till now, and the reports I've carried, the reports we've carried over here on ATN, it's insane how greedy and willing to do anything people have become. Why do you think that is? And where do you think we lost it?
Society has gone south. Maybe we are in the last days. If you're a student of the Bible, the Bible says in the last days iniquity shall abound. But why is it abound? Why does it seem to abound more in Nigeria? Or maybe because I'm in Nigeria, I think it's abound more in Nigeria. But you see, two people, it's, you're taking us to another topic altogether. And again, that's why you see the blame to some extent goes to society. Some of the things we seem to have taken as norm are in a romantic relationship. And then you know, to think that drugs, now this is not trying to preempt the matter or something, but to think that drugs were involved in the matter, because from the initial report there were substances abuse there, and that may even have explained why she had the gut, something took hold of her, those substances, to have been able to start. But then the question is, why, how did we get here? So there is a need for society to readjust itself, our morality. When it's not enough to say, oh, like the sister said, oh, she gave me a phone and said her boyfriend gave her. In the past, there are some things you don't want to tell your immediate family. At that time you are in school. Yes, she wasn't a girl, probably she wasn't an underage, but you don't bring gifts in yesterday's and say, oh, my boyfriend, not my husband, gave me, then I'm passing on to you, and she willingly accept it. That raises question on the family side of it. It's part of family failure, maybe not parental failure.
And you see that many girls right now, the focus, people don't want to plan with anybody. Everybody's out there gunning and looking for an older man. Who married older people. It was done in a way that, you know, they come over to the people's house. And most times then families actually give you out. But most people, you know, usually were married around their age grade. Now, where I'm driving completely out of their league, if I would say so myself, that is, they're having, you know, relationships with, right? Do you think that we have glorified this now? You know, when bad things are happening, one person does it, 2 people do it, 40 people do it, the younger generation is coming up and they see it as a standard. What are your thoughts as regards this sugar mommy and sugar daddy trend, you know, that led to the death of Ataga?
Most of the time, where you have this relationship, most of the times there might be a few exceptions. It is not usually a love relationship. I mean, it's a romantic relationship. Of course, there could be the I love you, talk your own, I love you, and all those stuff, everything. But behind it, most of the time, it's 2 people taking advantage of the older person taking advantage of the younger person to satisfy their sexual craving, which probably people of his or her own age may be unwilling or able. So you will definitely need a support to get it, and that support may just be anything, but maybe criminal, at times not criminal, but definitely something not morally acceptable. Talking about morality, we live in a world where the morals seems to be on the flight. People are more, you know, morals seems to be nothing now. They seems to be old-fashioned. If you're morally inclined, people look at you as being old-fashioned, and it's unfortunate that the things that were cherished yesteryears are now looked at with disdain. That's why we have some of the problems we have. That's why we have a surge in criminality. Behind most of the kidnappings you see is the need for people to earn more than their capacity would likely afford them, because they want to live a lifestyle that their capacity, their training, their age cannot afford. And they come and display it in society. When they display it, they get disciples with them, because everybody is hearing. They go to the communities, they do I don't know how to call those donations, because those donations are neither here nor there. They really not better society, but the people hail. And as the people hail, and a mother somewhere is looking at his own child, is that not your mate? The child gets the message. Without a strong moral background, he gets into crime.
That's just sad.
You know? The same thing with the female child. Oh, it may not be into crime like criminality, but something, he gets into a relationship that may...
queer relationships.
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately so. And the driving force for most of them is also the same thing, money.
Thank you so much for your insight on that report. We take the next story. One student was reportedly killed when parts of a classroom block collapsed at Government Girls Science and Technical College, Potiskum, Yobe State. The incident occurred during class hours on Thursday, leaving several others injured. The injured students were rushed to hospital for medical treatment as at the time of filing these reports. Government Girls Science and Technical College, Pokistom, established in 1979, is a public boarding school focused on providing science and technical education for girls in Yobe State. Commissioner of Police in the state has vowed to make sure that everyone involved
in a region where the number of out-of-school children is high, is alarmingly high, and you have this incident happen. Let's assume that the parents of that particular child that died were or unwillingly sent that girl to school. Do you think they will send the others to school? You will need more than a struggle to make them send the others to school. The children that didn't die, that got injured, that would have been traumatized. Now, I remember vividly, back in the days, there used to be school inspectors. But you see, inspectors, at least having been following what happened in academic sectors, I know it's another. There is also those who inspect infrastructure of the school. When government build infrastructure for schools, knowing that a project for another government to continue, and the typical Nigerian manner, everybody clapped. But that's wrong. Government is a continuum.